over the years, we've seen the blue oval grow larger in the rear view mirrors of Japanese automakers like Honda and Toyota. Pairing technology with fuel economy, Ford has now added in style. We've seen it in new models like the Ford Escape, the Focus Electric, and even the Ford C-Max. But now we're seeing the culmination of that plan in this, the 2013 Ford Fusion. Its attractive qualities are self-evident, and it's obvious that when Ford sold off Aston Martin, they kept at least a few of the designers. As new as the style of this vehicle is, what's more new is what's under the hood, with as many engine choices as there are bars on that big front grille. I'll warn you, this is a lot to digest. The base powertrain is a 2.5-liter four-cylinder, making 175 horsepower and getting 22 miles per gallon in the city and 34 on the highway. At the opposite end of the spectrum is a smaller but turbocharged 2-liter. Now it makes 240 horsepower and 270 foot-pounds of torque and gets a pretty impressive 22 miles per gallon city and 33 highway. Ford's mid-range powertrain for this car, and likely the volume seller, is another EcoBoost engine, a tiny 1.6-liter four-cylinder. Now, it makes 178 horsepower and 184 foot-pounds of torque. But what's impressive is the fuel economy, with 23 miles per gallon in the city and 36 on the highway. Now, that's with a 6-speed automatic transmission and Ford's new stop-start system. There is also an option for a 6-speed manual with this car, which gets even better fuel economy, although regardless of the numbers, it comes a little bit short of both the new Accord and the new Altima. Heading into the extremes of fuel economy is this car right here, the Ford Fusion Hybrid, getting 47 miles per gallon combined. That's 47 in the city and 47 on the highway. And if you want to take it a step even further than that, there's a new plug-in hybrid coming, which is expected to get the equivalent of 100 miles per gallon. About the only thing that isn't overly new about the new Ford Fusion is the car's interior. Anyone who's driven a previous generation Ford Fusion or even a modern Ford product will find it quite familiar. It is understated, and it's actually a little bit monotone too. And even the My Ford touch system, with all its flashy bright lights and everything, a lot of that wow factor has worn off, and it's really just become a part of the car that you now expect. Now, base Fusion models use a fabric that's completely devoid of any style at all. Now, of course, you can upgrade to higher grade trims like this titanium model that I'm sitting in right now, and it is much improved. Although there are some downsides to it as well. The leather seats, they use a material that's a lot like what BMW uses, in that it's very sort of gritty, and I don't really like that a whole lot. I want a smooth leather. What I do like, however, is that it's pulled really tight and it has a sort of great sporty feel that it gives to the car. What is new about the new Fusion are the available features on this car. You now can get a pre-collision system with the car, as well as adaptive cruise control. And topping it all off, there's a lane keeping feature as well. It will not only notify you if you're leaving your lane by vibrating the steering wheel, but if you keep going over, it'll actually add torque to the steering wheel to pull you back into your lane. The first thing you'll notice when you get behind the wheel of the new Fusion and hit the road is that this car gets a lot of attention. It's amazing that a mid-size sedan actually draws stares from passers-by. Like the rest of the modern Ford lineup, the steering on the Fusion is very good. Now, it's not overly responsive, but it is very good for this type of vehicle. And I do like that it's not overtly heavy, they're not trying too hard, and it doesn't feel fake, it feels very natural. The handling on the car is quite impressive, especially on this titanium model I'm driving right now, with the largest 19-inch wheels and some good tires on the car as well. We just hit some canyon roads, and it really goes through there nicely. It does not understeer willingly at all, and when you're bobbing and popping through different corners at some pretty good speeds, it really stays nicely composed and is always comfortable. The mid-range 1.6 liter EcoBoost engine in this car, probably the volume engine, is what I would call adequate. It's got enough power, and thanks to its turbocharger, it feels nice and torquey around town. It just feels a little bit misleading when you really get on the throttle, because I find it doesn't matter if you're at half throttle or full throttle, it sort of accelerates at pretty much the same pace. As for the 2-liter EcoBoost, the big engine in this car, it also feels similar to that, and it's torquey with 270 foot-pounds, so you've got a lot of power most of the time when you want it, but when you really drive it very hard, it does feel a little bit underpowered compared to some of its competitors, and to be honest, that's the truth. It's down about 30 horsepower to most of them. Another unique feature that Ford is offering on the 2013 Fusion is a start-stop system that you can get on the 1.6-liter EcoBoost when equipped with an automatic transmission. Now, it will actually shut off the engine entirely when you pull up at a red light, and that's supposed to save as much as 3% fuel economy, just that one small feature. The downside I found, though, is that it actually makes the steering lock completely when you come up to a stop. So you can't be at a stop, put in a bunch of steering, and then pull a quick UE. You actually have to be moving in order for the steering to activate again, which is very strange and almost seems like a safety issue there. Now, I have to talk about the new Fusion Hybrid with its 47 mile per gallon rating, which Ford says is 5 miles per gallon better than even the Toyota Camry Hybrid. Now, in real-world driving, what I've done is I got about 40 miles per gallon on the car, which compared to what I've gotten in the past on a Camry Hybrid, 39 miles per gallon, really makes those big differences not so significant. Compared to the previous generation Fusion Hybrid, the new car actually gets a smaller 2-liter engine, and it gets a new lithium-ion battery pack and can operate at speeds at up to 62 miles an hour in pure electric form. One of the really neat features about the system is it actually offers new coaching features on one of the display screens on the dash, and it can actually coach you how to best use the regenerative braking feature, and you'll learn over time how to get the most out of that hybrid system. Attractively styled, the new Fusion is also attractively priced, starting at $21,700 plus a $795 destination fee. The car you're going to want at least, though, is the 1.6-liter EcoBoost, and that starts at just around $25,000, or you can spend an extra $1,500 to get the EcoBoost 2-liter with that 240 horsepower engine. And if you want a car just like this one in its full titanium trim, you're looking at about $30,000 and up. Fuel economy on our admittedly brief test drive wasn't quite up to Ford's boasts, but it is still right up there with the best in the class. You can also add to that all the available technology and the fact that the Fusion is really a great driving car. But its most important feature remains its style. And it doesn't really matter what I'm saying right now, you simply won't be able to resist taking this car for a test drive. For more on this review and others like it, visit autoguide.com.